Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about a new stock, Victory Park Capital, going with the ticker VIH. Now in this video we're going to go towards technical analysis, institutional buyers, and due diligence and what I think about this one. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So VPC, which is Victory Park Capital, is an Impact Acquisition Holdings for a special purpose acquisition company formed for the purpose of entering into a combination with one or more business entities. And for this under here, Bakkt Holdings LLC is the transformative digital asset marketplace launched in 2018 by Intercontinental Exchange and Corporations and a marked group of investors and strategic partners. They've entered into a definitive agreement to combine VPC Impact Acquisition Holdings. Bakkt has been the forefront of new innovations, enabling institutions and consumers to buy, sell, and store and spend digital assets. Bakkt's differentiated and disruptive platform is soon to be made widely available through the new Bakkt app and will enable an incremental consumer spending, reduce traditional payment costs, and bolster loyalty programs, adding value for all key stakeholders within the payments and digital assets ecosystem. With VPC Impact Acquisitions Holdings, our aim was to identify the high-growth fintech company with competitive differentiation and significant white space, and we're pleased to have found a great match in Bakkt, said the CEO. Now, the company has a strong position in one of the most well-funded and fastest-growing areas of technology expansion, as evident by its diversified revenue generation model and pathway to near-term profitability. And first off here, I do want to go first through the presentation. It might be a little bit outdated, but it still holds the majority of the information we need to understand. But first is the overview of Victory Park Capital. They were founded in 2007 as a privately held SEC-registered global alternative investment firm. VPC has invested over $6 billion in over 115 transactions globally since inception. So they have a strong track record of investing in fintech itself, and they're actively investing in that area and have executed over 50 transactions since inception with some of the largest global fintech companies. They also executed transactions with key segments of the fintech landscape, including digital lending, payment processing, buy now, pay later, insurance technology, real estate technology, and digital investments management. So they currently have invested more than $6 billion, again, 40 plus professionals across the US cities, 50 plus fintech transactions, and more than 50 plus transactions with financial sponsors and venture capital partners with more than 20 years of average relevant experience for senior teams. So Bakkt is an ideal partner for VIH, meeting our key acquisition criteria. Number one being differentiated high growth fintech. 2. Meaningful barriers for entry. 3. Strong unit economics. 4. Capital inflection point. 5. Best-in-class management team. 6. Strong risk management. And 7. Promotion of financial inclusion. Now, here's some of the transaction summary. First off, VPC Impact for Acquisition Holding is a Cayman Island company and is a fintech-focused publicly traded special purpose acquisition, or a SPAC, with $207 million in cash to be deployed. VIH has entered into a definitive agreement to combine the companies, or both companies, with a pipe size of $325 million, anchored by a $5 million commitment from ICE. Now, the valuation and pro forma ownership includes or implies a $2.1 billion post-merger enterprise value and a 78% Bakkt rollover shareholder with 100% equity rollover, 12% BIPE investors, 8% public SPAC investors, and 2% SPAC sponsors. So we're probably going to be in that 8% general. Now, the combination of the SPAC will result in a trust account proceeds, assuming no redemptions, and a PIPE investment is expected to provide Bakkt with around $574 million of pro forma cash. The app available is currently on an invite-only base with 100,000 active users at the current time, with a pipeline of around 350,000 users waiting to be turned on. Widespread rollout of consumer app is slated for Q1 2021. It's still not there yet, but no additional equity capital requirement anticipated between the closing and or between now and the closing, which is expected by 2023 for achieving that positive cash flow. An overview of ICE. ICE has a market cap of around $65 billion and is a global market infrastructure provider with a history of developing and implementing leading technologies. Now, moving on from there, we're able to see some of the notable stakeholders include Starbucks, Microsoft, ICE, PayU, and BCG. Now, the pro forma has around $574 million in cash, again, as we mentioned previously. And some of the investments highlights includes unlocking massive market by empowering monetization and adoption of digital assets, transformative consumer marketplace with internet economics, a trifecta of advantages fueling competitive differentiations, and superior economics model with scale, growth, and profitability. Also, experienced, proven management team backed by ICE. Now, the scope here, including digital assets in new emerging economy, mainly revolves around digital currencies, mainly cryptocurrencies, loyalty points and miles, gift cards, in-game assets, cryptocurrency again, and stocks and derivatives. So they're anticipating a very strong CAGR and a massive SAM, being around 26% for the CAGR, meaning that between 2020 and 2025, they're anticipating that the current market share of $1.6 trillion would grow almost by 4 times to $5.1 trillion within 2020 to 2025 again. And Bakkt is unlocking the value of captive digital assets for everyday use from their own perspective. And Bakkt at a glance here, the formation was on August 2018. You're able to see that the basic generation of that app itself, the introduction, was starting on October 2020. And they do provide here some demos and some more information relating towards this one, as well as some backed up partners, including Starbucks, with more than 200 plus gift card merchants, including Home Depot, Xbox, and Subway, are fully integrated with more than 30 plus view-only loyalty sponsors, including JetBlue, Alaska, Chipotle, Domino's, and Discovery Rewards. And some of the financial performance, you're able to see some of the informations here in terms of the Bakkt users. They're anticipating a growth from 2021 being 9 million shares to 31 million shares by 2025. Now, in comparison, for some Robinhood users, active users, they're showing you here that in 2016 it was 1 million, jumped to the first half of 2020 to 13 million. And Cash App here from 2015 or 2016 to be specific, 3 million all the way to the first half of 2020 to 30 million. And they're seeing themselves somewhere still stronger than these two as well. And in terms of projections for summary here, they're anticipating that the total revenue is going to be on 2021 by the end of it around $55 million and the EBITDA of negative or a loss of $184 million, adjusted EBITDA of $169 million. They're anticipating that they're going to hit net profitability by 2023 by multiplying their entire revenue by 7 times to $357 million in the total revenue. The EBITDA there will be anticipated for around 79 million shares, or $79 million, of an adjusted EBITDA of $111 million. So that on its own is very critical. 2023 is the mark for this company, and ever since after that, you're probably anticipating a yearly growth of around 20 to 23%. The average is 20% after that. And in terms of strong economics, you're able to see they're trying to sell you on it, trying to show you all the information, different companies that they perform better off, and in terms of enterprise value, how they compare with other companies, and how other companies as well are sitting compared to each other as well. But before moving on forward, if you would like to see more contents like this, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video and join our Discord, totally free in the description below. We're not trying to sell you on anything on there. Now, and other things here, you're able to see Victory Park Capital do invest in different things. For instance, here, Wonder Brands picks up $20 million aimed to build marketplace for Latin America e-commerce brands. And basically, this is with participation of Victory Park Capital. Other news, Victory Park Capital signs for the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investments. And then this one here, the leading digital consumer credit card platform, Southeast Asia, announces plan to become publicly traded company with the merger of VPC Impact Acquisition Holdings number 2. This is holdings number 1 we're talking about. This is number 2. And on the other part as well, you're able to see Credivio closes an additional $100 million for warehouse financing with Victory Park Capital. And all I'm trying to highlight here is the scale of Victory Park Capital themselves. Now, they do have on Bakkt's website itself multiple different news that they do report on usual. Some of it is almost like blogs. For instance, the Bakkt study finds nearly half of the reported US consumers have invested in crypto. Bakkt partners with Quiznos restaurant to launch Pay with Bitcoin pilot in store. And Bakkt strengthens leadership team, appointing Dan O'Prey as an executive vice president of digital assets. Bakkt also launched Bakkt Visa debit card to maximize their user ability to spend digital assets. And Bakkt partners with Wyndham Rewards to expand travel offerings. And they also expanded the reach of the digital wallet experience to send digital assets to nearly anyone. Now, this was back from March 30th, 2021. Bakkt launched its digital wallet back then with the Bakkt app to manage all forms of digital assets, debuting with Starbucks, GolfNow, and Best Buy, among other Marks brands. And you're able to see that it should be live currently. They saw over 500,000 users to participate in an invitation-only early access program. As the new features were released and tested prior to its public debut, now available in public in the App Store and Google Play Store, and the Bakkt app launches with industry and brand leaders, including the ones I mentioned earlier. Now, on technical analysis, we have some news to talk about, but from SEC filings, we're able to see, based on VPC itself, we have one resignation from Mrs. Harris, which she served as the audit or on the audit committee and compensation committee nominee. Now, on the institutional buyers, we do see some interesting backing onto this one. Invesco, Alpine, Global Management, and a bunch of others have scooped a good amount of this one. Now, on the short side, there are currently around 250,000 short shares available, with around a short borrow fee rate of around 4.68. And we're able to see that the current short volumes go anywhere from 8.79 to almost around 50%, but volumes have significantly picked up in the last week or so. And you're able to see that within the float itself, currently you have in the last 90 days that insiders have sold, or one insider to be specific, have sold around 10% of their entire float. And this one here is Alpine Global Management, and they did sell around 2/3 of their entire position. As you get to see, previously they had around 2.8 million shares, and now they have 1 million shares. So what happened there? Basically, they've been buying at an average close to $15, so it goes all the way around 13.98 all the way to 15.07 million, and they bought millions of shares, almost to be specific, 2.8 million shares. Now, they did sell at some point. So for instance, initially they had around roughly around 2.4 million shares at the start that they did acquire. It could be at the forefront around $10, but actually this is Alpine Global Management. It doesn't show right here how much, but it shows initially they had 2.8 million shares. And then they bought a bunch more at around $15 and $14, and then later on just around $14 in hundreds of thousands of shares. And then they sold some peanuts here and there. And then the massive one here was when they sold around $9.97. So I do anticipate that the lowest they probably averaged at was $10, but they did go ahead and buy some more at 14 and 15. So the best case scenario for them, it would be selling at cost. So that might be what happened there. They sold around 10% of the entire float. Now, in terms of short float itself, we're able to see that it's currently reported around 45.19%. but the current shares float is around only 15 million shares with a volume off, or average volume off, short of a million. Yes, this can basically trigger a massive short squeeze in this sense, but short selling activity is massive and high, and in any given day, once that merger does go through, that massive shares flow would come in place and replace this one, the very tiny short flow in general. Let's move on towards technical analysis now. Now, from a technical analysis standpoint of view, it's not going to tell you much. I mean, as you get to see, this one went from $10 to $12.40, currently sitting back very close to the $10. So it's very basic in this level. All the technical indicators are showing a massive spike in momentum and then a drop and kind of a reversal into this level. And the William percent R is showing how much oversold it is. It feels like a short selling attack, but it could be as well people who bought at $10 and trying to escape at 12 or 12.40 or even at this level, or even people who previously bought in this level around $12 sharp and then saw the opportunity to sell at 12.40 and just did that. And in terms of the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are actually pinpointing downwards, and the moving average bands aren't telling you much, but the Fibonacci retracements is showing a significant resistance at the 1283, 1469, 1690, and 1769. And on price line actions, we're able to see that on the current levels, there is a significant support that sits at 1036, and then 1013, and then down to 992, and then down to 982. And on resistances itself, we're able to see we have a few resistances. For instance, the 1042 is a very strong one, and then above there, 1073. And then above there is around 1118, 1117, going up to 1197, and then 1250, and then 1306, and then going up to 1361, and then 1398, and then 1489, going upwards to around 1530, and then upwards to around 1590, followed by 1675, 1739, and then 1778. Comes to the question to Ed, what do you think is going to happen here? Now, I do anticipate, as retail does grasp this information that presented, for instance, today, if it does reach them, it might actually trigger a short squeeze as people take a look into the short shares flow on FinViz. I'm not sure how accurate that is with real-time data, but it can actually go ahead and trigger a short squeeze in that sense. There's only around 15 million shares with an average volume of 1 million. All it takes is retail or Reddit just to skyrocket this price, although honestly, this is not always a good investment or a good strategy in general to just try to go for short squeezes. What you should do is try to see whether this is fundamentally sound. But if you're sold on this one's fundamentals, you're interested about the idea, then go ahead, put your money where that is. But if you're just trying to get rich or trying to make money, flip money through short squeezes, this might not be a good strategy long term. You might get lucky a few times, but this is a very risky investment in that sense. Overall, I do like their idea. I think as a company set in 2018, going through this reverse merger, it does have a strong potential to be even $1 billion company within the next years or so. And it's definitely an interesting concept with adaptation of cryptocurrency around the world. What do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.